sudden, catastrophic, unforgiving. There's something deeply unsettling about watching massive ships, some weighing thousands of tons, lose control and slam into ports, cranes, and bridges. In today's video, we'll be looking at some of the most shocking ship crashes ever caught on high-quality footage. June 27, 2022. The port of Aqaba, Jordan, the country's only seaport. A crane was loading pressurized chemical containers onto a cargo ship for export to Djibouti. One container held 25 tons of chlorine gas. As the crane hoisted the tank, the wire rope sling snapped. It was rated for 8.5 tons. The container weighed 28.9 tons. The tank plummeted onto the ship's deck and ruptured on impact. A massive cloud of bright yellow gas erupted across the port. Chlorine gas is lethal. When inhaled, it dissolves lung tissue within minutes. Dock workers ran for their lives. Some collapsed within seconds. 13 people were killed. Over 265 were injured. Investigators found that port officials had delegated critical safety tasks to untrained personnel. April 6, 2020. The port of Busan, South Korea, the fifth busiest container port in the world. The Milano Bridge, a massive container ship operated by Ocean Network Express, was approaching its berth after repairs at a Chinese shipyard. It was sailing without cargo, leaving one-third of its propeller above the waterline, drastically reducing maneuverability. It was also moving too fast. The ship slammed into the container vessel, Seaspan Ganges, already moored at the dock, then veered directly into gantry crane number 85. The crane collapsed. Its boom crashed down onto the ship's stern. 3 additional cranes were knocked off their tracks. The crane operator jumped from his cabin and sustained minor injuries. Investigations confirmed that the ship's lack of ballast water and excessive speed made the accident inevitable. The collapsed crane took 18 months to replace.
와, 좆됐다. 와.
October 31st, 2018. The port of Barcelona, Spain. The Excellent, a 2,200-passenger ferry, was maneuvering toward its berth after arriving from Genoa when powerful wind gusts pushed the vessel off course. The captain aborted the docking attempt. 2 tugboats rushed to assist, but the wind was too strong. The ferry was blown sideways, directly into a massive port crane. The crane toppled, crashing onto containers below, 2 of which contained hazardous chemicals. The impact struck a nearby fuel depot, igniting a fire that sent black smoke billowing across Barcelona. 12 emergency vehicles rushed to the scene. Miraculously, no one was killed. The fire burned for 3 hours before it was finally extinguished. July 14th, 2019. Semarang Port, Indonesia. The Soul of Luck, a container ship, was arriving from Malaysia with 2 tugboats assisting. As the vessel approached the terminal, its port bow made contact with the leg of a massive gantry crane. At first, it seemed like a minor bump. Then the crane began to buckle. The steel leg twisted. The entire structure tilted and toppled sideways in a cloud of debris. But the Soul of Luck didn't stop. The ship continued moving down the pier, striking a smaller vessel moored nearby and dragging it along the quayside. 1 dock worker was injured. Tugboat failure was suspected. The vessel had been nearly impossible to stop once it drifted off course. August 9th, 2024. The port of Ningbo, Zhoushan, China, the second busiest port in the country. A container aboard the YM Mobility held tert-butyl peroxybenzoate, a highly flammable compound that must be kept below 30 degrees Celsius, alongside lithium batteries. The container's temperature began to rise. A thermal runaway began. At 1:46 p.m., the container exploded. A massive fireball erupted from the ship's bow, sending cargo flying through the air. A plume of black smoke rose hundreds of feet into the sky. The shockwave shattered windows over a kilometer away. All 20 crew members were safely evacuated. The vessel sustained $12.3 million in damage and was out of service for months. June 2, 2019. Venice, Italy. The MSC Opera, a 65,000-ton cruise ship, was sailing into the historic port when a warning signal indicated a possible electrical failure affecting the engine and steering. The crew failed to address it. The ship lost steering. 2 tugboats rushed to intercept, but it was too late. The MSC Opera slammed into the river cruise ship River Countess, moored at the pier with passengers still aboard. The impact crushed the smaller vessel. The MSC Opera then crashed into the seawall. 4 tourists were injured. The River Countess was out of service for 3 months. Video went viral worldwide, showing terrified tourists fleeing the dock as the massive ship bore down on them. In 2021, Italy banned large cruise ships from Venice's historic waterways entirely. February 28, 2019. Busan, South Korea. The Sea Grand, a Russian cargo ship, had just finished unloading at the port of Busan when it departed heading in completely the wrong direction. Instead of north toward open water, the ship sailed straight toward the Gwangan Bridge, one of South Korea's longest highway spans. Coastal officials radioed urgent warnings. The captain ignored them. The ship slowly but steadily crashed into the lower level of the bridge, tearing a 5-meter hole in the steel structure. After the collision, the Sea Grand backed away and fled the scene. Coast Guard patrol boats intercepted the vessel and forced it back to port. When authorities boarded the ship and breathalyzed the captain, his blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit. He was arrested on the spot. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe for more twice-weekly disaster content.
야, 박았다.